Hello?
You're coming across loud and clear.
Hold on 1 second. Wait, I gotta get on my headsets.
Okay.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, there we go. There we go. That's better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, no.
You're very
Well,
clear.
I'm very clear.
Mm, it's good. You're unusually clear.
Oh, well, I don't know what to say about that. But, um, I'm so exhausted. I can't listen to these other people's streams where it's just complaining about immigration. It's the same thing over and over and over again. It's the same exact stream with everyone complaining about immigration, complaining about this, complaining about that, just complaining, and no solutions.
I know. Isn't it sad? And we're complaining about them.
Well,
I'm
I
going to call
know.
this stream complaining about complaining.
Well, it's just that I'm sick and tired of listening to it. And, like, the thing about you is that you give a solution, even though I don't like the solution. At least, it's a solution.
Yes. And, at least there's something to push back against, right? It's like, don't like my solution, then find a better one. There's some kind of logical progression about the whole thing. Well, they don't even seem to know that you have to come up with a solution if you don't like, the current direction things are taking. And
It, it,
it's a very simple analogy, isn't it? It's like, you're in a group and your leader's going somewhere and you think they're going the wrong way. You have to say, you're going the wrong way and the right way is somewhere else. Or we have to stop because, it can't just be moaning and groaning with no proposal.
no, it can't be. And this is the problem that Christianity destroyed the culture because they're not used to legalistic thinking. They're not used to they're not used to legalism. They're used to faith, and that's just no way to run a society.
And I suppose the purpose of Christianity was, the whole thing is if you're upset, pray to Jesus, but obey the law of the land and just watch it. And well, Jews and Muslims, they say, you have to obey these laws. And I guess they'll say, okay, these laws, and what are the wording? What's the wording of the law, and what do the words mean, and can we get around that? Does it apply to us? And it starts a whole train of thought that results in legal thinking.
Yeah, you need legal thinking. I mean, this is, as a beyondist, I've realized that, you steal what works. You steal what works from every different culture. Like we were just listening to that Zulu woman. I do believe in ancestral veneration. Okay, like I do believe in ancestral veneration. I think it's very helpful. And I think that if white people practiced more ancestral veneration, they would be in a better place. But I've always said that what I stole from the Muslims and the Jews is you need a legal system with a court. You need a court. I think that Judaism was even better than Islam in setting up a legal system, with like, especially with the Noahide laws, because it's one of the laws is to set up a court, right? I don't know if the Quran ever says set up a court, does it?
I mean, it does talk about, witnessing statements and that kind of thing. And I guess the implication is that, eventually any civilization that is an advanced civilization will see the necessity of courts. You don't really need to tell them explicitly. But, because lots of non-Abrahamic um, faiths have some kind of court. But ultimately it's the hierarchy of all the courts. It's like, yes, you start your action in a lower court, and then you go to the high court, and then you go to the appeal court, and then finally you get to the Supreme Court. And there is an order in this procedure, which makes sense.
Hello?
Hello? Could you not hear
Okay.
me?
For a second I couldn't, but now I can hear you.
Yes, and it's this kind of idea, maybe it's just saying thou shalt and thou shalt not is obviously a law. I mean, that's what the law is. It's telling you to do something, it's commanding you to do something, or forbidding you from doing something. And once you get this concept clear, everything falls into place.
Yeah, like, obviously this is what it's necessary, and these Christians cannot think legalistically. It's like they refuse to think legalistically. And to me, it's as simple as, okay, you need a court, and what are the laws that this court implements? What are the laws that the court subjects the population to? And then, okay, and then the rest of it, all the theology and everything is just making sure that people follow the court. Okay. Like, okay. So unfortunately, maybe most people, if there's no God behind it, are not going to listen to this legal system. They're going to say, who are you to tell me? But okay, I think that at least, okay, let's break it down. The four of the Noahide laws that most people would agree with are no murder, no theft, no animal cruelty, set up courts of justice. Do you really need a God? Do you really need a God to tell you to do those things?
No, but the Jews would say, why is the prohibition against idolatry and blasphemy the first two? And the answer is, if you don't refrain from practicing idolatry and committing blasphemy, the others you will find difficult to follow. So unless you really, truly believe in the Abrahamic God, and you won't worship any other but Him, and you'll be respectful when you refer to Him, then all the other sins will eventually follow, which makes sense to me. I mean, does it make sense that yes, in
Well,
theory you
okay,
can obey all
okay,
the others?
okay. Well, we always bring it up. I love talking about them, but the Mormons practice idolatry, yet they still practice no murder, no theft, no animal cruelty, set up courts of justice. It's idolatry, anti-idolatry is not necessary. There's no necessity for anti-idolatry. You can say that God is inside space-time and still say no murder, no theft.
Yes, but if you think about the Mormons, how long they've been around, they haven't been around for any length of time at all compared to the, older religions. And, perhaps what gives them their success is actually the country they're attached to, because, America is the world's number one superpower. And because of that, Mormonism and Scientology, or being a Southern Baptist gives you a kind of status that you otherwise wouldn't get uh, if you weren't American.
Yes, they have status, but what I'm saying is that this is not necessary. This is not the first three laws are not necessary. Idolatry, blasphemy, anti-homosexuality are not necessary for a functional society. Those are just so, you know, they're not necessary for a functional society.
Well, some might say that if you allowed extramarital sex, then you're taking out of circulation the people who would otherwise marry and have children. If you say it's okay to be gay, and obviously it's easier to be gay than to be married parents. And, and,
Yes, it
and, and
is.
therefore, the Romans understood that, which is why they introduced the bachelor tax. But then they were already, okay with pederasty. So they basically practiced pederasty and thought, well, I prefer this same-sex sex. And
Yeah. Okay, it's just that if they made their religion eugenics, if they said okay, we're going to allow same-sex relationships, but you still just need to procreate somewhere. If I were the Roman emperor, I would have set up a system where men would pay the bachelor tax, and your bachelor tax goes to paying for a child being born in a public temple. What is stopping from governments from breeding their own population? Absolutely nothing. Why couldn't the Romans breed their own population?
because I think ultimately all these rules, you can have any law you like, but in practice not enforce them because maybe they're difficult to enforce, or maybe you can't find anyone to enforce them, or maybe you're just not that serious about enforcing them. And
No, but you're missing the point. The point is that if I were the Roman emperor, I'd say you don't want to have a child, you're gay, pay the bachelor tax, and that bachelor tax goes to pay for a child being born into one of our temples, a birthing temple, a child temple, and they could have very easily maintained their civilization that way.
sorry, you're saying that you're going to somehow make the gay person impregnate a woman.
Well, no, not even. Maybe it would be someone else who got her pregnant. You pay the bachelor tax. Let's say you pay 25% tax. That 25% tax goes to pay for a child to be reared in a government temple.
Well, I guess I didn't think of it. And
Yeah,
actually, I
well,
can't.
that's why they need me. They need me.
Well, it's too late for them now. They're gone.
Well, the United
So we can
what
look up bachelor tax and why it didn't fail. I mean, it didn't succeed. So it was. Actually, it was used in France. It was primarily used as a revenue-raising mechanism for war on France, and as a means of ensuring that proper records were kept by Anglican
yeah,
church
war.
officials.
Okay,
The
yeah.
English did it, and then it was abolished in 1706 because it didn't work.
Well, okay, you used a bachelor tax to fund war instead of having children. Why would you do that? This is like, these people are retarded.
um, well, I don't know. Maybe they're just not that creative. But
Yeah, no,
anyway,
they're
they did try to introduce a bachelor tax in England in 1695. The English Parliament passed the Marriage Duty Act 1695, also known as the Registration Tax, which imposed a tax on births, marriages, burials, childless widowers, and bachelors over the age of 25. It was used as a revenue-raising mechanism for war on France and as a means of ensuring that proper records were kept by Anglican church officials. The tax was found ineffective and abolished by 1706.
okay.
So,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, there was a lack of will, and nobody was intelligent enough to say, see, like okay, if I were the Roman emperor, I'd say you don't want to get married, come to the temple, pay your tax, and we will breed a child for you. Free, like not free of charge because you're being taxed, but free of hassle. Okay, like you don't need to worry about doing this, you don't need to worry about doing that, and you provide the fathers and the mothers communally. Communal child rearing. You have a bunch of mothers, you have some fathers there to look over the children, to raise them properly, and then the state could raise whatever they wanted. The state could raise any kind of child they want,
Okay,
rather than
well, I think you'll have to propose it to people, and I think the objection would be that there will be no personal interest in the welfare of the children. And you're saying, oh, but it doesn't matter. And, we're going to be kind and look after those things. And it's like, most people neglect their own children. It's like, all the more are
okay,
they
but
going to.
why would a government neglect its own children when these are the future? What if these were being trained to be super soldiers? They should have been training super soldiers, super mothers, super this, super that. What the fuck is wrong with people? Why can't they just do things right?
Because well, I guess people are very hard to program, and also, if you want the super sojourn thing, you basically have certain laws that sort of say, enterprising men will be rewarded by the state, if they're successful in business and piracy and exploration, and whatever it is, and but you have to say that the state has to say, we want people to do X, Y, and Z, and then you might just incentivize people. But as you can see from that example I showed you about the marriage registration tax, certain taxes don't work because people just don't want to do it. People don't want to enforce it. There are certain laws that are very hard to enforce.
Well, I don't think a tax is hard to enforce, especially in modern era. Well, we know who all the bachelors are. The government knows who the bachelors are. They know whether you have a child or not. You have to sign up on your taxes, and you have to let them know whether you have children or not. So, yeah, tax them at 25% or, more. And, they have to pay for having two children in order to replace themselves.
Okay, apparently in the United States during the 19th century, there were calls for a bachelor tax, frequently driven by a moral panic. And the bachelor tax was viewed as a way to reform sexual ills, either because individuals believed that bachelors had a higher rate of delinquency, or because they believed that many bachelors were closeted homosexuals. So there you go. It was introduced in America. You can look it up in Wikipedia under the bachelor tax. And ethnocentrism and eugenics. The bachelor tax has a long history of being used for race-based pronatalism policies. In the earlier 20th century, this morphed into a general discussion of race suicide, and consequently, there was much literature supporting racial-based pronatalist policies, typically in the field of eugenics. After such measures were passed in South Africa in an attempt to align white birth rates with black rates, it passed to Benito Mussolini, who explicitly called for it to spread Italian progeny in a speech on May 26, 1927. He said, "Let me be clear. What are 40 million Italians compared to 90 million Germans and 200 million Slavs? What are 40 million Italians compared to 40 million Frenchmen, plus 90 million inhabitants of their colonies, or 46 million Englishmen, plus 450 people who live in their colonies?" Thereafter, the idea of the bachelor tax was passed over to Franco Spain, Nazi Germany, or was discussed in Bulgarian fascist circles, and became a staple of fascist propaganda in general.
What? Yeah, well, they didn't administer it properly because they were heterosexuals and they don't want to breed like farm animals. Heterosexuals don't want to breed like farm animals. They just don't. I'm sorry, but that's the problem. If you don't want to breed like farm animals, well, you're not going to get anywhere in this world.
Yeah, do you want me to read a bit more about that?
Sure, go ahead.
Analysis in present day. Today, bachelor taxes have, for the most part, been superseded by the inclusion of marital status in the tax code. The first distinction in marital status as part of an income tax happened in the US by 1930 after Poe and Seaborn, where income splitting was allowed in community property states. Therefore, until 1948, tax rates amongst married and bachelors differed based on one's state of residence. This disparity led to joint filing status being allowed by US federal tax law in 1948 to attempt to harmonize a tax code between community property and common law states. Actually, I don't know what this means. After the war, joint filing and marital status began to be incorporated instead of explicit bachelor taxes into the US tax system and soon spread to other tax systems around the world. According to a 2010 study in the Journal of the Society for the Anthropology of Europe, the utility of the tax has been mixed, as analysis of past historical episodes have questioned the reliability of the tax to result in pro-natalist outcomes. In fascist Italy, it was found to be ineffective as birth and marriage rates actually decreased. In the Soviet Union, the effect on the fertility rate of the policy was likewise inconclusive, and it was also found to be fairly regressive, as it tended to hit rural, poorer bachelors hardest. However, modern-day implementations of taxation based on marital status in the US has found a positive correlation with marriage rate.
Okay, this is the problem. If you're going to enact a bachelor tax and put it into your war chest, that's not going to raise your population. You would have to put it into a child rearing temple, a child rearing program. There's no other way. Okay, so you taxed these bachelors. Now what? How does that increase your birth rate? How? Tell me how that increases your birth rate. It doesn't. It just, and then especially if you're going to put it towards what? Well, okay, you know what would make a little bit more sense would be to put it towards parents who are having children to say, have a second child and we'll pay you.
Well, I mean, really, the quickest way of doing it is to forbid fornication, and then young people who are horny will be rushed into marriage, and then they'll have children, and then you'll just have to make sure mum stays at home and looks after the children and keeps dad happy and married, and big up the idea of happy families and that sort of thing.
Okay, that's the old way. That's the old way of. Okay, but that's the old way we all rebelled against. The whole earth rebelled against that way of life, and you just say, well, force it on them with whippings and things like that, and like that's not the world I want to live in. I mean, okay.
No, the thing is, Vincent, I don't know why you're worried about these heterosexuals, because nobody's going to force you to marry, a woman and pay for the children. It's like you're in this sweet spot where you can actually say, well, I see that, this is the only way for the white race to survive, and that, but I can't do it. But I support heterosexual people who want to do it, and they should be privileged by the government.
Well, yeah, but this is new. They don't want to do it. They're being forced to do it.
I know. But the thing is, every time they complain about their government, you force this. You force this onto them. It's like do you want your Islamophobia to be the cause of white genocide? And basically they're saying, yeah, we'd rather die than have to marry a woman of our own race and pay for the children. That's what the men are saying. In the meantime, when things go wrong, they blame Jews, they complain about Muslims and talk darkly about removing non-whites. And they're happy with that because it's their religion now.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, if they would just listen to me, fine. Look, I talk about gay reproduction, but nobody is stopping straight people from stealing my ideas and implementing them. Nothing is stopping a straight man or straight people from opening up a facility where there's a woman there, where a man can go and pay a fee and have a child, and it's raised in a creche, and he doesn't need to sacrifice his whole life in order to have children.
Have you read Brave New World?
Yeah, well, yes, Brave New World. That was demonizing these types of systems that have never been tried. And I'm the one, look, you say, oh, well, it will just crash and burn. I'm very much well aware of the fact that this type of system would be small at first. If it crashes and burns, what are we going to lose? 100 people? That's it? Like, you know what I mean? Okay, so try it. Try it. Don't make the whole population do it. Don't make everybody do it. Try it on a small scale. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then you lost nothing. You
Okay,
lost
but
nothing.
how are you going to the thing is, you're asking gay men to do it. They don't want to do it. That's why they're
Well,
gay.
straight.
And if
Okay.
they wanted children, they'd stop being gay. Don't you understand?
Okay. Straight people can do this too. It's not just gay people that can raise their children in creches. It's not just
Okay,
gay
then
people.
you need to round up these gay people, and you somehow need to prove that their parenting is equal or better than straight people. You need to somehow reach out to these people and prove that their parenting is going to be better than married straight parenting. Otherwise it just stays a theory. Look, if you would actually support secular Quranism and become the first gay American secular Quranist, you will get notoriety that way, and you can also support your Beyondism, and I wouldn't be able to stop you.
Well, I just wish a straight person would just steal my ideas. I don't want to
Well,
have
I'm
to be.
kind of trying to work with you on that. But I'm saying uh, maybe our partnership is basically complementary and symbiotic. So we're both interested in theology. I want to promote my secular Quranism. You don't like it, but if you supported it, it would actually help secular Quranism, because you can imagine, what would happen if some alpha male white person supported it. It would just frighten everyone. But if you supported it, people might think, oh, it's not so scary after all, because Vincent is supporting it. And then they'll talk about it more, and then you can ride on the crest, or you can surf on the crest of the wave of secular Quranism to promote your own ideas. Don't you think that might work?
Okay, but I would have to be basically, it would almost be like a caste system where gay men get away with having all the sex they want, and straight people basically need to watch out,
Yes,
and
because they could produce illegitimate offspring and unwanted babies.
yes.
But that is their advantage and also their curse. But it's a problem for them. I mean, all you can do is support the rules. It's like, okay, it's fair enough that heterosexual people who are married parents, deserve some kind of tax break or some kind of social status to make them do it. Because if you say that they're no better than single people, they'll think, well, are we just stupid for doing it? If we're not
Well,
getting a tax break or any
yes.
any
Well,
kind of social or political
okay.
recognition.
I don't think social status is enough in order to force them to do this. I think they need financial incentives, and I think that they need social incentives. They need some kind of socialization that will make this easier. Look, my parents taught me one thing, and that is having children is very, very, very unpleasant. Like, it's just that's what they taught me. I learned from them. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very hard, arduous task. And you
And it's
know,
great that you respect this. You are aware of this, and your ideas of circumventing
you
marriage.
want another one?
Um,
I'm listening.
um, and I can see that your whole plan is to circumvent this, but I think that there's no escape from it. Heterosexuals
Well,
will always have the edge on homosexuals about sexual reproduction and parenting.
Well, okay, fine. Drop the whole gay reproduction thing. Why my system? I could market it to heterosexuals. I could market it to them, and
Yes, yes, you could, but you need to um, use something else as your platform. And I'm saying, it's secular Quranism because, I think people can take secular Quranism seriously because it's so socially conservative and everything. And ultimately, um, you're saying your system could be better. So I'm saying, yeah, prove it. If you can, if you can actually, manage to get enough people interested in, you're welcome to try. But I don't think it's going to work with you not being a secular Quranist and not, you know, making the most of your notoriety, which would increase if you were to become a secular Quranist. I'm saying you can have both. Yeah, you can have the best of both worlds. And I think you're ideally, positioned to explain it to people and not frighten them with it. Precisely because you're gay. But also you've had the benefit of a stable relationship, and you can sort of show that you're you are gay. You have been in a long-term relationship, and you kind of get the whole problem of parenting and stuff.
well, yeah,
And
I
you're a
get
real
that.
person, and people already know you exist, and you're not some anonymous avatar. And you're theologically knowledgeable, and people have already heard of you.
Well, I mean, but okay, under my system, well, they would be under my system. These people would be sex offenders because they're hiring a surrogate to have their child for them outside of wedlock. So that wouldn't work.
Well, it would, I guess, under secular Quranism be banned, but I don't expect it to happen tomorrow. So between now and the time when secular Quranism becomes a law, you can promote your thing and see what kind of response you get.
Well, let's see. I mean, I can promote this to I can promote this to heterosexuals. I'm focusing on homosexuals now, but let's see. I mean, the thing is that heterosexuals, well, they have the natural old system that they're clinging to, right?
Mhm.
They have the natural old system they're
Yeah,
clinging
they have
to.
the edge on what you're proposing is you know making birds swim and forcing fish to fly. I'm just saying it's unnatural and impracticable, but go ahead and try, Vincent. I'm not stopping you.
Well, I can try that. I can try convincing heterosexuals to breed in creches and all these other kinds of things. And
Yeah, but you also have to say you're a secular Quranist. In a serious, committed way, not here today and gone tomorrow. I mean, you do understand. You kind of need to keep repeating it. until enough people get it and want to interview you on their, Muslim channel, so that they're sure that they heard aright. You kind of have to say it for a while, the same thing. And you have to announce it and, see what happens. I think the reason why, Jay mocks me is because I just haven't got anyone's committed support. They say yes, and then the next day they change their mind after having some kind of meltdown.
Well, I mean, I think that people are dumb, Claire.
But you're
I
not.
think
You're capable of understanding rules and how to work within it.
yes. I mean, I like, So okay, if I do admit that if I wanted a conservative society, I would choose secular Quranism. Like, why not? What's so? I don't understand this. Like, how absurd is that? Like, I don't. Okay, so some Muslims came up with some good laws that would, if enforced, maintain a conservative heterosexual society. And why not just enforce those laws? Why do you need to believe in Allah? Why do you need to believe in the stories or Muhammad or this or that? Why do you need, I mean, you could have secular Quranism without Muhammad, without any kind of like reverence for him or, or belief in him or that he existed or, you don't need to believe in any of these kinds of things. It's like people want all the trappings.
And they can have it. It's optional. Belief in God is neither compulsory nor forbidden. So, so three options are possible. You can be atheist, you can be a theist, or you can be agnostic.
Hmm. Yeah, which, I don't see why people have such a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. And if I were a social conservative, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think that these people are just addicted. They're addicted to faith-based religions and they don't believe that religion should be enforcing laws on people. And it's all the fault of Christianity. It's all Christianity's fault.
Well, yes, I think Christianity has traumatized so many Westerners who don't understand their own history. It's like the past 250 years has been, all these revolutionaries just rejecting Christianity because they couldn't stand it anymore. Because, in the age of monarchy, people would be burnt at the stake for saying, "What's this Trinity then?" I don't understand. Can you, all that, and I think of all these people who must have been warned, more than once. That if they question the Trinity, they would be burnt at the stake, and they just couldn't stop themselves.
I don't
You know,
know.
you
It
might have been
seems
one of them.
it seems to have ruined white people. Christianity seems to have just ruined them, and if they would just, Rabbi Harry Watton said, you cannot win as you are. You need to evolve if you want to win. You if you are in a bad position, there's a reason for it, and you cannot. People want to win as they are. They want to win as who they are today. They don't want to change into something new. They don't want a metamorphosis. They don't want, whatever it's called, metapsychosis or whatever it's called. They don't want any of that kind of stuff.
Jews have been called a stiff-necked people in the Torah, right? I
Yes.
think it's Gentiles can also be stiff-necked, refusing to change their ways. And there's a verse in the Quran saying, why would you follow the religion of your ancestors even though they had no guidance and just didn't have the knowledge? But people don't want to acknowledge that they're wrong. Certainly, they don't want to admit that their ancestors were wrong. And talking about ancestor worship, I think we should all maybe we should try and think of our ancestors and wonder what they might think of us if they were alive and looking down on us. Would they be proud or ashamed? And we should also think of posterity, of future generations, wondering at us if we carry on the way we are now. Would they be thinking we're so clever and so wise, or so evil and so stupid? Maybe we should think in these terms about people we've never met. I mean, do we want posterity to think of us as we think of Aztecs? Like, how could they just killed all those people in acts of human sacrifice, thinking that the sun might not rise if they didn't do that? And then we could think, well, the Aztec. I'm sure there was at least one sensible Aztec priest who might have said, perhaps the sun will rise, even if we don't kill all those people. And then the others said, well, then we'd all be out of a job.
I'm just angry that people need God and Allah and Muhammad and the stories. And, it's like, well, obviously that's what people care more about, because look at the Muslims. They care more about that than they do the laws. They don't implement Sharia in Muslim countries. They care more about, what Muhammad said rather than what the legal system is.
Perhaps they're encouraged to do that by their own government, because obviously the government doesn't want their citizens to know their rights, so they don't encourage study of the Quran. So that could be a reason. But imagine if we all knew our rights by heart, or had a reasonable understanding of it. We'd all be so smart, and and the government would never be able to get away with anything. And I'm sure, if we were under Sharia, I think a lot of people would just want to know their rights. But well, I mean, okay, for me, I find it quite satisfying and interesting to, use the arguments and the rules to win arguments. It's very satisfying.
Oh my God. Oh God. I don't know, Claire. I think that I don't know. I think maybe people are too stupid to accept your message, Claire. I don't know.
But you understand it, and I
I
think
understand it, but it does create a world that I don't necessarily want to be in. But I understand that if I were conservative, yeah, I would understand it. Yes, I would, and I would respect it, and you know, maybe propagate it, and and it does make me think about a lot of things, and I think it's a very ingenious idea, and I just don't think the world is intelligent enough, or mature enough to accept it.
but I think you're the catalyst. You see, if I wanted someone to adopt secular Quranism to be my first supporter, I mean, I couldn't ask for anyone more suitable than you, Vincent. Because, as I'm saying, I wouldn't want, any scary bearded macho man to support it, because then everybody would just, run away. Or, yeah, I think they would run away. They would be frightened if it was a macho man. But for you, they'll think, oh, really? How come? I have to find out more and, listen to our streams and, because, you seem, such a gentle and nice man. And it's all because of your upbringing, really, because, if you weren't brought up a Jehovah's Witness, you'd just be like all the others who pretend not to get it. You'd be like Jay, you'd be like Stephen, you'd be so infuriating. Just pretending not to understand. Just so
Yes.
they can ignore their moral imperative.
Yes, part of it does have to do with my upbringing. Unfortunately, though, to be honest, I'm not very grateful for my upbringing because it isolated me to the point that, I really can't, I don't have anyone to really talk to or that can understand me because, I was raised so differently.
Well, I think I understand you.
Well, maybe a little bit, but the general population doesn't. It didn't really do me a service, and it made it so that I really can't function in society because I can't meet other people eye to eye. You know what I mean? Like there's 100 Stephen J. James, there's 100 Jays, there's 100 the academic
They're
agents.
all like Stephen J. James. They're all like Jay Walker. The archetypes, those two.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of them, and they have other people to bounce their ideas off, and they have someone to commiserate with, and they have someone that understands them and is in their court, and and I don't have any of that, and I never will.
Well, we've met, so I think at some level we understand each other and understand each other's goals and ambitions.
Yes,
Because I really think theology is the next frontier of political activism, just because of the Anjem Chowdhury case. Because that judgment said, oh, he gave online lectures on Islamic theology. And I think if they could, they're going to make the theology, the discussion of theology, illegal. And also, Rabbi Misraki said it's actually illegal now, it would appear, to teach the Torah as it ought to be understood and taught. And that's why everybody is getting it wrong, because I think even these Jews and Muslims, that they ultimately submit to the liberal paradigm, and they don't even think, well, why are we suffering? Is it because God is angry with us? They don't even think that, even though they say they're believing Muslims and Jews, which is so hypocritical. I'm agnostic. It's like, well, aren't you supposed to believe, or at least entertain the idea that, he's mad at you and bad stuff is going to happen if you just carry on pretending not to understand? That, yes, those laws in those holy books, they're meant to be obeyed. He never abrogated them. He never said, oh, Jews, don't worry about a thing. I'm now liberal. I'm now a liberal God. I believe in gay marriage and transgenderism and sexual liberation. There's no holy book that says that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you walking by the beach or something in your flip-flops?
No, I'm walking through the gay resort. I'm walking through the gay resort looking for, everyone's out. Before there was a cocktail hour and everyone was in the pool and having a good time, but now everyone's gone. So I'm just walking about the resort while I'm talking to you. I don't know if people can hear me. They must think this is crazy conversation. Okay, so I re-met the man. Remember I told you I got really super drunk and started a conversation about the Trinity with someone in the hot tub?
And then what happened? You met him today?
I met him again today, and I asked him, I said, I'm sorry, did I scare you or anything? And he said no. And but his boyfriend is a Mormon.
Oh, wow.
Yes, his boyfriend is a cultural Mormon, a Jack Mormon, a gay Jack Mormon, and yes, and we talked about Mary Baker Eddy and Christian Science, but we talked about lots of different kinds of things. But at least he was at least he was nice to me. At least I realized that I didn't totally scare him off.
Well, he must have thought it was a very unusual subject to discuss, but I think more and more people will be interested in theology, because I just don't think they can avoid it. It's like, like Speaker's Corner. Once upon a time it was just these, capitalists arguing with these communists, and now it's like everybody's talking about religion. Because I think instinctively they know they have to appeal to somebody more powerful than their oppressor. And if their oppressor is the global hegemon, then
Burger?
who else can they appeal to?
Hold on one second, Claire. Hold on one
Sure.
second.
I'll read the chat. TCR, do I know you, TCR? Hey, TCR. Well, thank you all for coming. It's quite a good turnout. I really don't remember supporting blasphemy laws last night. I don't know what I said that made you think that. Yes, I think inside Vincent there's a heterosexual man screaming to get out.
Hello?
Hello.
Who's Mike Malzahn?
He's this Islamophobic troll who visits all the Muslim streamers to troll them, and is sometimes banned.
What's his problem with Islam?
Well, he's a libertarian, and he's not far from you because he's in Florida. So they sort of know him because he just does his rounds like a kind of Islamophobic inspector of Islamists. So yeah, he goes on all their streams. He asks them annoying questions, and he gets kicked off and banned.
Oh God!
Yes, and he swigs his beer while he's talking to those Muslims.
Oh, he's a beer drinker.
Yeah, I think it's beer, but it could be something stronger. I don't know. But yes, he's quite well known. And oh yes, and he does have a copy of Secular Quranism. And I'm grateful to him for occasionally waving it provocatively at the camera. So thank you for that, Mike. But he hasn't finished the book, sadly. He's only read the first chapter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is that all these sort of so-called public intellectuals like Nathan Kaufman, do you know him? And Eric Kaufman.
No.
Anyway, Nathan Kaufman is a Jewish professor at Oxford, and he talks about race realism, and so does Eric Kaufman. And they recently had a debate that I can't watch, or I can't watch all of it because it's behind a paywall. And it's like it's so annoying. It's like it's so obvious that they don't want any Muslims attending their show. So they would say by invitation only. So I guess if you had a Muslim name and you wanted to turn up, and you were prepared to pay £100, they'd say by invitation only, so you couldn't turn up. And what's the point of having these discussions? If you're not prepared to talk about, the only solution, in my view, that would work. So that they've thought up a neologism called hereditarianism. Is it a word you've come across?
Yes, hereditarianism. Yes, that heredity, that you gain your your abilities through heredity.
Yeah. So basically, it's kind of eugenic, isn't it? Your children will be the consequence of who you choose as their other parent, and so you should choose carefully. And I think that there's some idea of race realism and I mean, people are already advised. It's like don't choose somebody who's too different from you in class or culture, because then you won't get along. And we know that even Jews um, have to choose each other according to their ideas of observance, and they call it hashkafa, which means outlook. Well, obviously, a really observant Jew is not going to get on well with somebody who barely observes the Sabbath and only occasionally eats kosher. So these um, characteristics are important for a successful partnership. Even within the same religion, so many things need to be taken into account. But
Hmm.
when you were talking about those sex parties, um, I suppose superficially people would think it must be so easy to organize sex parties for gay men because you don't have to even out the men with the women. You just collect them all and mix them all up, and for some reason it doesn't work if you do that.
It's very difficult to run successful gay sex parties. It's very difficult.
I mean, you would need to hire gay prostitutes, right, to make it go.
Yeah, in order to kind of fill up the room and make sure everyone was happy. Yes, I would have to do that if I had a lot of money. I would do that. I would love to open up a gay resort or gay sex club or something like that. But I mean, monetarily, I don't have the money to do something like that. But, I am at a gay resort now and it is pleasant and, it's pleasant and peaceful as usual. I mean, gay men don't fight with each other like that. They don't get into fist fights. They're not football hooligans, you know what I mean? And, it's just generally usually a peaceful environment.
Hmm. And,
It's
and, and
general.
people are nice around you.
Yes, they've been nice. They've been nice to me. They've been nice. I mean, there's that element of, you don't want to give someone, in a gay setting. Well, straight people are the same way too. If you're not attracted to someone, you don't want to lead them on. You know what I mean? You don't want them to think that they have a chance with you. It doesn't mean you can't be nice to them,
Hmm.
but, you know, I think there is a tendency to be standoffish with people that you're not attracted to because, you don't want them getting the wrong feeling. But if you interact with them properly and you meet them under the proper situation, then it's fine. Where if you can make it clear that you like talking to them as a human being, but don't want to have sex with them, then that kind of that annoying distance that gay men have with each other starts to disappear.
I see. So you as a gay man have to establish proper boundaries. Like, I'm gay, but I'm here with my husband, sort of thing. So I guess you mentioned you have your husband. Is
Well,
that what you mean? That kind of thing.
no, I'm gay, but I'm not attracted to you sexually, but I would like to still talk to you. How do I communicate that to you? How do I talk to you nicely without leading you on? It's
Talk about the Trinity.
yes, talk about the Trinity. No, I wasn't attracted to that man I talked to the Trinity about. He wasn't my type, but I was so wasted drunk. Oh God, I was wasted drunk. And oh God, it was horrible. I was talking to him about it. And
Did you find him attractive?
no, I didn't.
Have you found anybody attractive?
Yes, I have. Yes, I've had sex twice since I've been here.
Mm.
Yes, I've had 2 sexual encounters, which was more than last time. Last time I had like none. But
Hmm.
yes, I've had 2 sexual encounters.
Oh, good for you. So you're a happy bunny.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it is nice to be here and just, talk to people. And it's nice to be in the pool and, there's a bunch of people in the pool and we all sit around and talk. And some people are naked and some people are, you know, maybe not having full blown sex, but, you know, getting there. And, it's an interesting environment. It's, better than being stuck at home. I like it better here. I would love to move to Florida. I'm in Florida now. I would love to move here.
Hmm.
It seems just like such a relaxing place.
Have you seen any gators?
Any what? Gators?
Alligators, yes.
No, I haven't seen any alligators.
So the atmosphere is that of a kind of simmering sex party. That is.
Well, no, I'm not here on the peak season. I'm here on the off season, so there's not a lot of people here. No, it's not a simmering sex party. It's, it that happens sometimes a little bit, but it's, no, people are naked and you see people naked and all these different kinds of things, but it's not necessarily like, you know, some height of some like heightful orgy or something like that. It's not
It's
quite
more
that.
like a gay nudist camp, is it?
Yeah, kind of gay, just it's a gay resort. It's a gay resort and it's nice enough for me.
Hmm. What kind of entertainment do you have?
Oh, they make drinks for us. We get free drinks. They have music. They have the pool. They have a gym. They have a sauna. Not a sauna. They have a spa.
Hmm. Do you have
They have.
any entertainment in the evening?
Um, I don't
Games?
know. No, I don't. Well, I haven't seen that yet, though. I don't know. I think I don't know what people do or what people put on or anything like that.
Are most people in pairs, or are they single?
Most people come here in pairs. I've noticed most people are here with their boyfriend, their husband.
Hmm. Yes, I suppose uh, it would be a couple thing to do, to go on holiday to a gay resort. Mm.
Yeah, no, there's people here who are single, though.
Hmm.
There's definitely people here who are single.
Right. Hmm. And how is the food?
Good. I go to this place. I get sushi to eat sushi and try not to eat too heavy, even though I'm drinking. And the food is good. They don't really serve food here, but um, they have whatever that they need. They have whatever they have.
Mhm. Hmm. Sounds all right.
Yeah, no, it's quite pleasant here, and I have a little bit of a sunburn from being out in the pool, and my shoulders are a bit sunburned, but it's fine.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna drink tonight and hopefully have a good time. So I don't drink usually. I'm not a drinker. I can't drink very heavy. Like I'm not a football hooligan who can drink like 5 pints. I would get sick to my stomach.
Mm.
I don't know
What's
how. What?
what's your drink of choice?
Well, I like wine, though while I'm here, I'm drinking beer. But yeah, I think I like wine. I think I like wine. I should get bottles of wine rather than bottles of beer.
Yes, that's more refined. White or red?
Yeah, I think it's easier to drink. It's less harsh on the stomach. You burp less. Beer
Yeah.
makes you burp, and beer fills you up and makes you bloated. And
Yeah. And you get there quicker because there's more alcohol in wine. Is that your phone?
can you hold on 1 second?
Sure.
Hello, Eduardo. Eduardo. Hi, Vincent. How are you? I'm good. Are you coming to visit us tonight? It's a storm here too. It's Eduardo. Eduardo. I'm good. Come talk to him, no? Are you gonna come talk to him? Oh, well, and then you'll pick up on your watch. He's on the phone now. Oh, call him back. No, call. Okay, he's gonna call you back. Yeah, bye.
Mike asks where in Florida. He's in Tampa.
Hello.
Um,
Oh,
hello,
he lives in Tampa. This Mike Makala or whatever his name is.
Malzahn. Yes.
He's Italian.
It's German. I think he's the name is German.
Oh, um, oh, he lives in Tampa, Florida, just like Carol Balizette.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I wonder if he knows about her. I did bring her up. Well, because when it was very interesting, that man that I brought up the Trinity with, I told you his boyfriend is Mormon. So we got into all the different cults and we were talking about the different cults. And I brought up Carol Balizette and, these are, I don't know why I bring up these topics. I don't know what people talk about, to be honest with you. I get bored. I get bored with people's comments. Like, I feel like people just talk about very shallow, surface, boring topics, and um, it's not very invigorating speech. I don't find most people's topics of conversation to be very invigorating. And even him, we were talking and then he had to keep interrupting. Be like, "Oh, I love this song. Oh, I went on a trip." People want to talk about their trips, their songs, their what they ate. Oh, I went to a lovely restaurant. Like, I don't care about all that shit.
Yeah. It's a kind of boasting, isn't it? My lovely holiday, my home extension. Hmm. Yes, I suppose it all is quite superficial, and maybe people are afraid to talk about things that matter because people can be so unforgiving if you say the wrong thing.
Yeah, well, it's, I don't know what's happened to everybody, but, you can't just talk about pleasantries all day or we'll all become retarded. You know what I mean? Well,
Yes.
we'll all become dumb if all we do is talk about pleasantries. And, it's, it's a problem. It's a problem that it's like everywhere you go that it's all that people want to talk about are pleasantries and silliness and, you know, even when they are political, a lot of people just want to talk about mainstream politics, like, very mainstream stuff that whatever the media is saying, or, oh, I support Trump, rah, rah, rah. But, when I support Trump, but not in that way, not in like a mainstream kind of way. Not like, I'm not like Trump, yeah, it's, I'm not like some, meathead Trump supporter,
Hmm.
which a lot of them are, which brings down the thing. Do you think he's going to win, or do you think Kamala Harris is going to win?
Well, I'd like him to win. I mean, I just dare not predict the future.
Yeah, I was talking to someone at the pool yesterday about it, and he said that he was from South Carolina, which is a red state, and he said that he was supporting Kamala Harris. He said that he would, vote for a corpse. He said even if I needed to push Biden into the office in a wheelchair, I would vote for him. Which is they're both too old. This is ridiculous. That these people are this old and can't and are running for president. It's exhausting. That's an exhausting job.
Well, I mean, these people should be retired, but did the person, the South Carolinian, say why, or has he just always been a Democrat?
We didn't really get into why he was so anti-Trump. I didn't want to tell him that I was voting for Trump or had voted for Trump. I didn't
Mhm.
want to get into that. Yeah, I didn't want to get into that. Ow. I didn't want to get into that with him at all.
Mhm.
So
I
I
suppose
left.
if you took a journalistic interest and you can just interview everyone without contradicting them, it's like, why do you think this and why do you think that and blah blah blah. Um, without necessarily having to agree with them. I mean, do you think most gays would be voting for Trump or not? Or is it hard to tell? Or
It's hard to tell these days because gays are so mainstream now that they're no longer knee-jerk liberal Democrats. A lot of them are Republicans.
hmm.
I don't know. I just, I wish there was something better for me to vote for, and these, these two candidates don't speak to me as a human being, neither Kamala Harris nor Trump. But I don't even know that much about Kamala Harris, to be honest with you. I know nothing about her.
Well, her father is black, her mother is Indian, and Trump made a few pointed comments about her. It's like, well, I thought she was Indian, and now she's decided to be black, or he made a few sharp comments about her change of identity, I suppose.
Yeah, she can be whatever she wants to be.
But the thing is why is she pretending to be black now? Because obviously she wants a black vote. And Caleb Maupin wrote a book about her, and there was this drama about it because um, Amazon withdrew it from sale, and then Lulu also withdrew it from sale, and now it's back on sale on Amazon. And I guess he's making the most of the situation and talking endlessly about why people shouldn't vote for Kamala because she's damaged and she hates black men, and because of her father, and it would be very dangerous for black people to vote for her. All words to that effect, since I haven't read his book.
He wrote a book about her already that quickly?
4 years ago, he wrote about it, and then it was
Oh,
withdrawn from Amazon, and then he complained about it, and I think he said it was planning to get 1,000 copies of them distributed at the Democratic National Convention. Which is, do you know when it is?
it's sometime in August. It's sometime this month, and they're going to officially nominate her. They have to officially nominate her.
Without, so she's basically crowned. So all the other hopeful candidates will not be allowed to run.
Yeah, no.
Which is very irregular, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I don't think they're thrilled about her. I don't think anyone's thrilled. I don't think people are like, oh yeah, rah rah rah, Kamala Harris. I think just like that guy told me, they would rather wheel Biden into the White House in a wheelchair than vote for Trump. I mean, these are people who would vote for, the reanimated corpse of John Wayne Gacy before they would vote for Trump.
I don't know who is this person you mentioned.
John Wayne Gacy was a really fucked up gay serial killer in America.
Oh. How many people did he kill?
Lots, and they were young men, and he ate them, and he would dress up like a clown. He was really creepy. He was just like a really creepy person.
When was he apprehended?
I don't know. Look him up, John Wayne Gacy.
How do you spell Gacy?
I don't know, Gacy. Look, just
Mhm.
do your best. Type in John Wayne Gacy, and he should come up. His wiki should come up.
Yes, Gacy. All righty. He died in 1994. He was born in 1942. Yes, he's got a really terrible mugshot. He murdered at least 23 young men and boys in Norwood Park Township near Chicago. Yeah, right. He performed as a clown.
Yes, he was a clown performer, and he killed homosexual men.
Well, in Britain we have Dennis Nielsen, who was quite famous because he would bury the corpses of men, gay men, that he invited back to his flat in his bedsit flat in Primrose Hill, which is a nice part of London. Is it Primrose Hill? Dennis Nielsen. And yes, he would eat them too. No, sorry, no, he didn't eat them. But he would dismember them in his bath, and then get rid of their bits and pieces. While he was going for walks, and pour their bits and pieces in hedges and things. Muswell. Sorry, it wasn't Primrose Hill. It was Muswell Hill.
Yes, yeah, these different these different serial killers. But the point was that these are people who would vote for John Wayne Gacy if he was trying to get into office over Trump.
Hmm.
Just anything but Trump.
It's interesting that cannibalism becomes a part of serial killing.
Yeah, it sounds like especially gay serial killers for some reason.
Like Jeffrey Dahmer,
Jeffrey
he was into
Dahmer,
cannibalism.
yeah, he was.
I saw an interview of him, and he said he was sorry. Do you remember that one?
No.
Well, apparently he said he was sorry, and um, and he seemed sincerely sorry, and then he got killed in prison. Um, I mean, I think he basically said, "Oh, that there was no excuse for what I did, and I'm not trying to excuse it."
Yeah.
So I think in the case of Dennis Nielsen, um, it has been psychologized into he didn't want um, these men to leave him, so he just killed them to keep them with him and play with their corpses for a bit before dismembering them, and yeah,
Oh, that's
uh,
terrible.
yeah. So let's see how he was caught, this Gacy man. Yeah, with Nielsen, it was because of blocked drain. So I guess he put things he shouldn't have done down the drains, and then the plumbers were called, and then things were found. Oh yes, and towards the end, I mean, when he was in prison, Nielsen said, you know, I don't think I did anything wrong because none of the people, and they were all missing people, it seems, and nobody cared about them. So nobody noticed when they were gone. So he said, well, what's the problem there? Nobody missed them.
Right.
Yeah, and there was kind of no answer to that. But the home that he lived in, which is 34D Cranley Gardens, is being sold as a family home.
No wonder who bought it.
Yeah, we don't know. Would you live in a place like that?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not very sentimental like that. I'm not very superstitious like that. I know, like, in America at least, I think it needs to be disclosed before you buy a house if someone was murdered in it. I think it's the law. They need to disclose that to you.
Yeah. According to the Mirror, the flat was put out on the market for a second time in April 2015, and it received more than 100 inquiries in the first 6 weeks, but only 20 viewed it. But somebody did buy it for £300,000.
Yeah, someone who doesn't care, someone who just doesn't feel as though those things matter. But yeah, ow, yeah. I think in America, if there was a murder in the home, it needs to be disclosed to the buyer.
Yeah, because it's so horrible when you think,
Yeah, well, yeah, it's something that it's might people might not want a murderer's home.
but I suppose if the house is old enough, some people will have died in it of natural
Yeah,
causes and not.
natural causes, but I don't think, you know, I think that if there was some kind of murder. Yeah, it needs to be disclosed that there was a murder in the home.
Mhm. Yes, I suppose you can exorcise it or something
Yeah,
if you care about these things.
yeah.
Well,
Can you hold on one second?
sure. Let me see what Gacy did exactly. Gacy worked in the Las Vegas ambulance service before being transferred to the Palm mortuary. He worked as a mortuary attendant for 3 months, observing morticians embalming bodies and occasionally serving as a pallbearer. He slept on a cot behind the embalming room and later confessed that one evening, while alone, he clambered into the coffin of a teenage male, embracing and caressing the body before experiencing a sense of shock. This experience prompted Gacy to return home. What are JCs? The United States Junior Chamber, also known as JCs, is a leadership training service organization and civic organization for people between the ages of 18 and 40. Okay. So he was quite a successful member of the JCs because he became a vice president of the Springfield JCs and was named the third most outstanding JCs in Illinois. And he even married in 1964. He was a father, he had a daughter.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, I might go get some sushi. I have to wait. It's raining a little bit here, but
Mhm.
um I might go in a little bit. But um oh God.
When
Oh
will you
God.
be back in New Jersey?
On the 8th.
Hmm. Are you planning to visit anywhere around where you are? Or will you be
No,
mostly in the... Okay.
I'll be mostly in the hotel. Maybe I'll go out a little bit.
Hmm. Hmm. All right, I'll let you go to have your sushi, and so I hope you
Okay,
enjoy the rest of your evening.
I
My
will.
dad says um, there's a hurricane coming, so let's hope.
Gacy buried them in the floorboards, I think he did. Gacy
Mhm.
buried his people in the floorboards.
Right. So, better stay indoors if there's a hurricane coming.
We'll see. We'll see, maybe.
Hmm.
All
All
right,
right,
I'll talk to you
Vincent.
soon. All
Okay,
right.
take care.
Yep.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you, Vincent. Bye.
Bye.